Welcome back to Rhythm Reading Bootcamp. Here we are, Season 2, Episode 2. We're going to delve deep into the exciting, fascinating, syncopated world of the 16th note subdivision. If you are yet to purchase a copy of Rhythm Reading Bootcamp Volume 2, which features all the stuff you'll see here, plus numerous extra exercises just to really test your rhythm reading skills, you can do so by just clicking the link in the video description below. Today, we're going to start with the 16th note subdivision. Here we go. So if we take our 8th note and we split it in half, we get two 16th notes, each worth 1/4 of a beat. Now, just in the same way that we had a nice, accurate, repeatable system for counting 8th notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, we have a similar idea for all 4 places in the beat where we can put a 16th note. So if we look at a bar of 16ths, you'll see that we have this system. Anything that's on the beat is still named that beat, 1, 2, 3 or 4 or more, depending on which time signature you're working in. Anything on the downbeat gets labelled as the beat. Anything on the and of the beat is still called and. There are now 2 other places where we can put a note. Immediately after the downbeat, which we label E, and then immediately after the and, just before the next downbeat, the last possible place we could cram a note in, and we call that A. So we get 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Now it's important to note at this stage that that system of counting and labelling where the note falls within the beat is not just reserved for boring rhythm reading books. It exists out there in the real world. So I've been in rehearsals and on gigs where I've had to, you might be talking to the drummer and say, oh, where are the hits? And he'll say, oh, it's on the and of 2 and the E of 4. That tells you everything you need to know about what's going on in that bar. Very convenient, succinct way of talking about rhythm. And this is the way that sort of educating musicians will discuss rhythm with each other. So again, it's not an esoteric thing that just exists in these videos or the book. Our first fragment is the most rhythmically straightforward in terms of 16th notes, and that is just 4 16th notes in a row in the space of one beat. Now what we need to do is get really comfortable with changing between the 8th note subdivision and the 16th note subdivision, so we'll sort of get this rhythmic doubling effect. We're going to start off with a bar full of 8th notes. Again, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Nice and easy. All I'm going to do is I'm going to tap the pulse, quarter note pulse with my foot, and then tap out the rhythms on my lap. Again, as we talked about in the previous video, it's really good to start away from the bass, because sometimes the act of wiggling your fingers can, make things more difficult than they need to be. So just as a first step, it's good to tap or clap out these rhythms. Someone always asks a question about gear in these things. So the gear that I'm using is, I've got a pair of knees just out of shot. These are all analog, true bypass, vintage knees, made in the UK in the mid-80s. If you can't find a similar pair of knees, just use whichever ones you can get your hands on. Gear doesn't really matter. Anyway, here we go. Bar full of 8th notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Really simple. Too simple. So we're going to take our 2 8th notes on beat 1 and change them into 4 16th notes. I'm going to count myself in and just tap out that bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 and 3 and 4 and. Let's just do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 and 3 and 4 and. You'll notice that I'm only counting the smaller subdivision that is present in the beat. So in order to save my breath, I'm not going to count 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a if I've got a bunch of 8th notes in there. I'm only going to count 16th notes where I see 16th notes. So let's have a go at just pushing that fragment through the bar. So we've done it on beat 1. Let's have a look at doing it on beat 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 E and a 3 and 4 and. Let's keep that going. Beat 3. 1 and 2 and 3 E and a 4 and. Beat 4. 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 E and a. Let's try, assuming that's comfortable, which hopefully it is. Let's try playing the whole thing without stopping to a metronome with the bass. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now that we've got the hang of that on its own, let's put it in context with some of the basic note values that we looked at in book 1. Let's just put this up on the screen, take a second to look through it, and then we'll have a 2-bar counting. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we're going to follow that up by putting our fragment in context with basic note values and their associated rests. Again, just take a second to look at this and check everything looks all right. And then we'll have a 2-bar counting again. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that was 4 16th notes in a row. In the next episode, we're going to take a look at the possibilities that emerge if we combine 1/8 and 2 16th notes in a single beat. I'll see you there.